Hi everyone. Um, so my whole life has been a search for who I am. Some of my earliest memories are of feeling like I was always on the outside looking in, observing life and not actually living it, not actually being a part of it, not actually feeling like I could have what other people had. It always surprised me, like when something great would happen, um, like a surprise birthday party or um, um, I don't know. It's just this sense of that those moments I couldn't have. I always felt like held back in a way. And I think in part it's been part of my journey to self. I was born in 1961 to a teenage girl who didn't really have the resources, nor were there resources available to take care of me. I don't know this. I don't know the situation around my around my conception. I imagine, knowing the time and the place and the situation, that it was probably just maybe a reaching out for companionship that turned into something, that I would probably say she felt ambivalent about. There's always the pull of the body in situations like that, especially if you initially find the person attractive. And then there's, everything you've been taught about what to feel and how your body betrays you. And so that mix of trepidation and titillation, I feel like I have a sense of that. I don't know if it's even true. I have never spoken to my mother about it. I guess I could ask her if she cares to remember, or if she was even aware at the time. You don't know the situation. But I do know that once she realized her situation and knew that I was inside of her, that, she loved me. She probably poured all her love into me because she didn't have much else. She didn't come from a good family situation, and although she did have people in her family who loved her, they didn't seem to be able to protect her. So she ended up spending most of her sort of teenage years in a convent as a maid for nuns. So you can imagine how much fun that was. But she was safe, and that was the price that she had to pay for safety, which is a lot of, what women, even nuns themselves, get into that situation where they become nuns for safety's sake, or for an opportunity for education where they wouldn't have it before. So my mother did love me. I'm sure of it. I felt it every day of my life, even before I knew I had another mother than the mother who was raising me. I always felt divinely protected in some way, connected on a higher level. I've always felt that. And whether that's, my mother's love for me or my grandmother's from the other side. And I have a lot of grandmothers because when you get adopted, you have your family that you're born into, but you also have the family that chooses you. And so there's a lot of ancestors lined up behind you when that happens, which is kind of cool, really. But I think when the time came, she couldn't really take care of me. And as was the wisdom of the day, they would take the baby right from the mother and not allow the mother to hold it, lest they bond, perhaps, or change their mind about putting this child up for adoption, which is what most girls, the best option for them, unless their family was willing to raise their child, right? But for whatever reason, they took me away, and I never had a moment in my mother's arms. Never heard her heartbeat. Never had her gaze into my face. I disappeared from her that day, in probably when she was most scared or most in pain, pushing that baby. I had a big head, let me tell. All my sisters did, my poor mother. Pushing that baby out, all that pain and nothing. And having to wait 48 years before she got to hold her daughter. Because that's how old I was when I found my mother. So, this question of identity, this question of who am I, was, I think, embedded in me, because as I came in, and just a little astrology here, I have a south node in Aquarius, which is often associated with feeling alienated, feeling like you're in the wrong place, feeling like they dropped you on the wrong planet, feeling like an outcast and an outsider. But there's also a tribal energy to that, and the energy of, equals all together in a big room, like an orphanage, I guess, for the first year of my life. That sense of not really being alone, but not really having anybody either. And yet always this sort of deeper connection to love. Mother's love, feminine love. The love of all my mothers and grandmothers, all my sisters and cousins, nieces, aunties, godmothers, goddess mothers. The line that holds us all together is love. Is there anything sadder than the motherless child? Can I say that I think it was Simba the white lion? I think it was Simba, when his mother goes to a zoo and she gets taken away and he's just sitting there crying by himself all alone. That was like one of the hardest things I ever watched as a kid. It never leaves me. It never leaves me. But that being said, I'm a lot older now, and 61 years actually. And I feel like what that journey, that seeking to know who I was, really gave me the answer. And it wasn't that my mother's name was Illuminata, which means light. Although there is a truth to that. No, the truth is that we are a spark of the divine. The truth is that we can never be separated from one another. But the only place you're really going to feel that is in your heart. Not in your solar plexus, not in your sacral plexus, sacral chakra, not in your roots, in your heart. The thing that binds us all together. When I made the conscious choice to love myself, which, let me tell you, took a long time. Took a long time. Everything turned around when I met my mother 48 years later. I felt that hole in my heart suddenly be filled. And I never felt so whole in my entire life. It was a great healing. I found out who I was. And, but I already know who I was. I know that I was a daughter of the goddess and a daughter of the God. That I was an expression of divinity, just like you are. Everyone has the divine within them. And while there are a lot of people who do terrible things, they still have a spark of the divine within them. And so we need to connect to that and help it grow, maybe. But certainly, if not that, you can just open up to the web of love that is all over. That for so many centuries we've had to just imagine in our greatest imaginings because we didn't have the power to change things. But the feminine is rising, and we have the power of love is the greatest power. Jesus told us 2,000 years ago. Unfortunately, most of the Christian churches don't listen to the words of Jesus, if any. But everything serves on some level, so who am I to judge? Maybe it's better to believe in something than believe in nothing, right? So I just wanted to kind of share that insight with you. It's kind of personal. Personal stuff is hard for me. I have a 7th soul. But I think it's instructive. And I feel the need that I needed to share a little bit more of myself with my my people out there who watch me. May actually see me sins makeup on a sweaty summer day among the trees, a little close to the road, but it's cooler here than where I usually sit. So I want to thank everybody for all your comments, especially, and I have people who every day talk to me. It means a lot to me. It really does. And I really appreciate that. And, you know, people who find what I have to say interesting and the like. But I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit more of myself. And, you know, we're all, I think it was the guy from Massachusetts with the bald head. What was his name? Oh, no, it wasn't him. You know who I'm thinking of, right? Erroneous zones. You know, I think it was Ram Dass, who was an Aries, who said, we're all just walking each other home. Ain't it the truth? So I've enjoyed this little bit of a time on our walk together. Home can just be the home of the heart, right? No worries. All right, guys, take care. Much love. Namaste. Love you guys.